Hey, 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 welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, haven't done a sketch and chill in quite some time. Um, just FYI, before we get started, welcome. I am Dr. Solo, the director of Ka-Pow, the Comic Art Academy, the real art school for real people with real lives, taught by real industry pros. And I decided to do a series to kind of really get sketch and chill off to the races because the Thunderbolts movie is dropping. And I don't know how I feel about it, to be quite honest. If you are excited about it or if you're tentative about it, please feel free to leave a comment in the comments. I just ask that you keep it PG 13 because this is a family show. But regardless, the Thunderbolts as a team in comicdom, they're kind of cool, to be quite honest. I'm a little bit older. The original Thunderbolts was very exciting to me. I haven't read all of the newest incarnations and iterations of the team, but I'm curious to see what Marvel does with this. And we're gonna go ahead and get started. But if you like what you see, feel free to like, subscribe, follow, whatever, wherever you're watching. I can see the comments over there. And just another point of emphasis, my computer is older, so you may see some lagging or some jumping. We're trying to get that replaced. It's going on 10 years, and it's letting me know that it's pretty much at the end of its life cycle. And so we're going to go ahead and switch scenes here, and let's get to drawing. Today, we're not doing Winter Soldier. That's the wrong one. We're going to be doing Sentry today. That's who we're going to be doing today. We're going to be doing Sentry. We might do Winter Soldier next week. And so next week, check us out. If the movie's a hit, we're going to be drawing Winter Soldier. I'll go ahead and schedule that after the end of this drawing stream. But what we got today, we have the Golden Guardian himself with the power of 1,000,000,000 exploding suns, the Sentry. And so I am working here on Canson 9x12 Bristol recycled paper. Very eco-friendly. It has a texture to it, has a tooth to it. We're going to start inking on this bad fella. This is the sketch that I did before the stream to kind of ease into the process because it's been a while. Hopefully you guys can see it okay. But I decided to do something that could possibly double as a potential print if I scanned it in. So we're going to see how this turns out. But it's art, so there's never any real guarantee. All right. If you guys have any questions or comments or want to know what tools I'm using at any given time, feel free to let me know. If you're watching this on replay or record, leave it in the comments and I'll get back to you. But let's get started defining this bad fella. See what we got here. We're going to start off with the number 1 Prisma Micron, and I'm a page spinner. So just FYI, people, I'm a page spinner. Now I'm not sharing the sketching process. It's not a whole lot to it. The reason you'll probably not see a lot of sketches here live with me because I've come to the realization, the hard realization, that whenever I live stream and I start off with the sketch, because talking and drawing is a level of multitasking that requires skills currently beyond my own. The formative part, even though it's the easiest part for me, the sketching part, I'd rather do it in solitude. That way I can knock it out and I can kind of make sure that everything is in place. You probably won't see a lot of construction lines, admittedly. That's not a flex. This is pretty much a standard iconic superhero pose, so not a whole lot to it. I know if you are not here in your, if you're currently not here in your comic art progress, in your journey, you'll get there. Trust me. It's really about putting in your reps and getting them in over time, and certain poses just will become second nature. So you probably don't see a lot of construction lines. I don't like to put a whole lot of effort into the sketch because like this sketch probably took me 25, maybe 30 minutes to knock it out. But it's a very intentional 25 to 30 minutes, which is why I don't, like with solo, if it's so easy, why don't you do it live? It's because even though it's easier for me, it's so important. I always notice that whenever I'm drawing live, because I'm distracted or somebody may jump in, things look really wonky, wonkier than I intended once I get off the live stream and I revisit the piece. And so the sketch part, again, not that hard, but at the same time, super crucial for me at least. But it's also kind of relaxing, so I kind of like to do that kind of stress-free, kind of alleviate some of the there's a level of anxiety, believe it or not, when you are broadcasting your process to the world. It's a thing. It's a thing. All right. If you're watching from Twitch or from Facebook or from YouTube, feel free to shout out. Let me know that you're there, and I'll acknowledge you, and we can chat, or I can just sit here and be quiet and shut up and draw, which is always my favorite thing to do. You see, I'm making some corrections as I go along. That's the beauty about the sketch phase. I think one of the reasons I prefer to do the sketches not online. I share clips of it in real time on other socials and even on YouTube. But I might, if you're that curious, I may make a tier on our Patreon and share the sketches in real time with some commentary. But this is Robert Reynolds, who will be featured in the new upcoming Thunderbolts movie that drops, I think, tonight at midnight. I'm going with my crew, my sons. We're going to go check it out Sunday. So I'm going to be intentionally avoiding spoiler reviews and all those things. Being sure to show where the biceps connect, and it's a little overlap there. That's the bone in the forearm. You have these nice beefy masses of muscle. I left room for an energy signature. I did leave room for an energy signature. I don't know if I'm going to do it at this stage, or again, if I'm kissed by the comic book gods during the stream, I might, and it turns out like I hope it does, I might save that for conversion and scanning into digital and make a print of this, because we are entering, well, we're already in con season, but I'm gonna start my conventions for a couple more weeks. And it's nice to have a little bit of new table candy every year. If you're an artist and you have some tips or something that you like to share, that you'd like me to consider, I'm always open to learn. One of the things we tell our students here at Ka-Pow is that, you have to be forever a student of the craft, right? Forever a student. So when I do characters, I know a lot of people are like, well, that's not really how he looks. I always like to, especially when I'm doing characters that are pre-existing or not my own IPs, I am largely disinterested in copying it verbatim from the original character design. I have to have a little bit in it that's me, without going crazy, so that the character still is recognizable to knowledgeable fans, but there's just enough in it, of me in it, to inspire me, to do it, because I am one of those people that kind of grew up always, a fan of the mainstream like everybody else, but I always liked, as a kid, always like bringing my own spin to it. It's like, can I do some cool things to it without like really breaking it? All right. There's a little hot spot that might need to be cleaned up. A little wobble there from the stencils. Me and stencils aren't friends for some reason. I'll freehand this. Again, knowing that if I have to, I'll clean it up digitally if I do something with it after the stream. And all that's black anyway. So, and I'll jump around a lot, people. So that's kind of my process. With me, it's always about stimulation and not getting blinded. It's a real thing in art where you can kind of get blinded by being in one area too long. So I found that kind of jumping around all over the page kind of helps me kind of scan and take everything in and keep my eye kind of refreshed. It's almost like hitting the refresh button on the computer. Just my way. I'm not saying it's the way, it's my way. And I'm gonna have those black accents, kind of like that. I don't know who that artist was that I used for the thumbnail on this. I try to give credit to the artist in the thumbnail. Sometimes I don't know who it is. If you guys know, let me know, and I might correct it if I think it's important enough. But I think I put in the thumbnail unknown. It's one of my son Jordan's favorite characters. He loves OP characters. OP characters are not my thing. I'm a fan of underpowered, oftentimes street level characters. They lend themselves to in my opinion, better storytelling. And you notice at this stage, I'm not really trying to make sure everything's clean. I'm gonna go over these with bolder lines. I just want to lay the base lines down. And I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna clean them up and tighten everything up from there. If you're watching, feel free to let me know that you're out there. Let me know what you think. But if no one's out there, I will zone out, trust me. And I'm okay with it. Using stencils to make sure his logo kind of looks decent enough for use. Hopefully this dispels the myth that a lot of people think, hey, I thought you did everything by hand. That myth, even in this AI era, is still circulates for some reason. No, we use tools. It's craft. You always draw, and we tell our students, draw within the strength of your stroke. There's for each one of us, there is a movement that is natural and intuitive to us as individuals. I remember coming up and getting feedback from professional inkers. Everyone said, this is how you get this stroke, this is how you get that stroke, and it's true. Like, just moving away will initiate a smoother arc. But as I got older, I realized that's not always the case, depending on the artist. So when I opened up Ka-Pow, I said, no, you draw within the strength of your stroke. Just master that. Certain things may be generally true, but as people, as individuals, we all have different biomechanics that are unique to us. It's great to have a baseline, like I can get a good art pushing away. That's a common inking practice. I'm just using the Sharpie here if you guys can't tell. But it's not always the case. Sometimes my confidence comes by pulling the stroke towards me as opposed to away from me. I've mastered the sweep away stroke, but trust me, whatever works at that angle, I believe is going to give me the desired outcome. Use it. The beautiful thing about art is that there are no absolutes. And hear me say that a lot as we start doing more of these streams. There are no absolutes, just best practices. I talked to we've interviewed some people that have gone through traditional art schools, the few that's yet remain, and many of them are stuck in what an instructor taught them and framed it as an absolute law. The great thing about art, I don't care whether it's comic book art or expressionism or minimalism, the beautiful thing about art is that there are no absolutes. That is the fun part about it. But if you have no baseline, if you don't have any real knowledge or experience, those are always great places to start. Inking, my practice is to always start, if I can, get into large black areas as soon as possible, because that's a great way to build up your confidence when inking, because of the permanence of inking, right? It's always a good place to start if you to get warmed up. Start with the big blocked in areas that require a lot of black. See, I started with the form here, but this is kind of like me taking a breath, because even after all these years of doing this, I'm sure professional inkers probably don't have this. I'll look for some pro inkers to chime in on it if they see this, but there is a certain level. It traditionally builds supreme confidence, but as with all art, there's always this underlying known possibility that things could go horribly wrong if you're not careful. And then correcting it, unlike digital, correcting it can be difficult. Definitely not ideal. I'm not using any fancy tools, it's just a Sharpie. Whatever fills in the black. And because it's more blunt, it's not as fine as my other tips, I'm going right up to the edge, because I do like clean lines. So I'm going right up to the edge of the outlines, leaving a little halo that I fill in with a finer tip tool. Sometimes I'll play this to test myself. And you guys will see mistakes here, trust me, I'm okay with that. I'm not trying to be pretentious and say, and only do things that I'm absolutely confident in. You guys are going to see me mess up and pull out correction fluid and all the other things. That's a thing here. And I'm okay with that. I'd rather be honest about the process than, it can be discouraging when you think that mistakes don't happen. But the thing about it is you can't be afraid of them. It's part of the process. And sometimes, like late Bob Ross used to say, you get happy little accidents. I haven't had a whole lot of happy little accidents, but it just ended up to be accidents that frustrate the crap out of me. But they've happened occasionally. I might save the energy signatures for digital. Again, this might get used as a print. I can see this possibly being a print. Need some pop culture stuff at the cons this year. Certain things that people, I'm hoping, I've heard the movie was good. That's what somebody told me. I guess it was, one of my buddies, and he's got connections and gets to see early screenings and stuff like that. He said he heard the movie was good. I hope so. The only bad thing about this recycled cans and paper, it's great for sketching. The inking can be a little problematic depending on the tool that you're using, because it does bleed. It has a subtle bleed to it, a spread that happens. It can be it can get you off guard if you're not careful. I'll clean up this bar here. It'll be a lot cleaner. My hand wasn't steady as I'd like to believe. I'm gonna clean that up a little bit, but bite into it. Kind of polish that up. There we go. Way to define that a little bit. Okay. Regardless of where I am at the end of 2 hours, we're going to end this at 2 hours. So as not to belabor the point, I'm going to clean up that circle. I'd rather clean it up with ink and kind of finesse it than come in with white out at this stage. It's a little too soon for that. The beautiful thing is the part that I'm correcting. That's the optical illusion. Your eye will see it as even and balanced, even though it's not. See, you can barely tell. The brain likes to simplify. And it'll make shortcuts for you, even if things aren't perfect. You gotta learn that as you grow in your skills. It's something that a lot of us comic book artists, and I'm not talking about comic book illustrators, I'm talking about actual guys who do pages, comic art style illustrators. That's the whole video that I'm doing. Different than comic book artists. Don't believe the Instagram profile. If you're not making pages, you're not a comic book artist. If you have not made pages, it doesn't matter if you are making pages now or not. If you have not made pages ever, or you avoid pages, then you are definitively not a comic book artist. You are a comics art style illustrator. Scott McCloud says it best in his Understanding Comics. One of the tomes that we recommend for our students to get to help assist them in their studies. That's a little throwback to the original Sentry that's kind of been abandoned in the redesigns. The little in the original comic, he had those little collar clasps. Okay. All right. We'll start playing with line weight in a little bit here. Want that to kind of boom, come up like that. And kind of, I like straight lines, but I want the cape to still feel fabricy. So the imperfections are, and the flaps are kind of necessary for that. Ears go up high and the head tilts down. And there's a slight tilt. It's not a drastic tilt. It's a subtle tilt. Have a little nose shadow here. Have a break down there. Hey Fitz, how are you? He is a bad man. He is a bad man. We're going to go see it on Sunday. Me and the boys, the sons and the grandsons, go check it out. I heard it was someone, KG, you know who that is, told me it was good. Definitely the most feared man in Marvel, most feared superhero in Marvel. I'm curious to see how the MCU translates him for the big screen. And that's a little manifestation of the void behind it. I think I'm gonna jump into the void really quick because I can use something a little bit bigger because I'm going to use a spattering effect in inking. So I'm less worried about these lines being pretty because it's all gonna be in black. Because it's gonna be like a creature of shadow representing the void. So I'm using, for those of you who may be interested, I'm using a design that was used in Siege by Olivier Coipel as kind of the basis. It kind of had this spidery crab thing going on, you know, that was in shadow and he was kind of engulfed by it. In early incarnations, it was almost like just a shadow self of him. I originally had all those eyes like spider eyes, but I kind of put a little of a face here. Something with a grimace. And I like it when I can do this because I don't have to be gentle or pretty because I kind of already know where I want to go with it. You know, is it necessary for this? So the imperfections are actually going to help it read better than you might consider. And all these lines are going to kind of be broken up and kind of hazy. hinting to this shadowy, demonic, evil self. So I like when I don't have to be real tentative with the lines. Tomorrow night. You heard decent reviews. I'm avoiding reviews because I don't want my hopes dashed. Yeah. So, and this is just the first. Hopefully it's good because I wanted to do. I have already created thumbnails for some of the others. I got Winter Soldier that probably gonna do on Monday if it's good, and also. Someone told me that Red Guardian has a cult following, but I have little interest in doing. Hey, cuz, what's happening? Jerry, it's Jerry's place. I kind of have there's no female on the team's incarnation that I find remotely interesting. You know what I'm saying, right? Yelena is not my Black Widow. I don't think she's any real comic fan's Black Widow. You know what I mean? It's Scarlet at this point. And so I have little interest in the substitute Black Widow. And I think she's going to be a hard sell for a lot of diehard fans. But I'd be surprised. So I'm trying to figure out for this Drawing Thunderbolts series to, shameless plug, to kind of capitalize on the fandom since the movie's out. You're going to be seeing a lot here at Ka-Pow School, because that's what this is. I do my own personal stuff on my other YouTube channel, but here we pander. Howdy, Jehey, how are you? One of our students, Jehey, who starts in September officially, and who's been burning up Ka-Pow with her activity. How are you doing, Jehey? She's I don't know which widow she is. Yelena, I don't know which widow she is, but I want to do a female Thunderbolt, but even Taskmaster didn't land well in the Black Widow movie, right? Their iteration of Taskmaster, she did not land well with fans, right? And so I want to do Taskmaster, but I'll probably end up doing the traditional Taskmaster here. But I want to show the female characters some love from the movie, but I don't find them remotely interesting, right? I really don't. Not in their MCU incarnation. So if I do Black Widow here next week, it'll probably be the Black Widow, if that makes sense. I'll probably have to, break rhythm for that. So instead of putting the energy signatures here, I'm going to save that for post. Because, I'll probably end up making this into a print. I'll probably clean it up and color it and stuff. And tote it around at cons with me this year. As we get ready for those. If I stick this landing. I said, don't get you started on the Black Widow. It was so bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. Said you didn't know how did the Taskmaster? I know, right? You didn't like, yeah, no, you didn't like how they did it either. And the design, the comic book Taskmaster, he's a hoss. He is a straight up, being able to mimic anybody's move, photographic reflexes, and his mastery, and the fact that he is the drill sergeant for most supervillains in training, and he's such an interesting character. And then in comics, they did something with him in Moon Knight where the Taskmaster, I guess Moon Knight beat him so bad that Taskmaster is actually kind of semi-cowardly despite being a formidable fighter. and he's terrified of Moon Knight because Moon Knight is crazy, right? And he's like, even though he can mimic his moves, he's so terrified because he's so unpredictable because of his, his mental stuff. I know this looks sloppy going in, trust me. Yeah, so like comic book Taskmaster, I might draw him. If I want to draw a female character in Thunderbolts, it'll probably be the Black Widow. But if I go comics, there's the original Thunderbolts in comics. They had Songbird, who has an interesting look. They had Moonstone. They had some really, really good, strong female characters from the comic book. The movie, I don't know, man. I don't know. I ain't there yet. So here I'm using a Pentel brush to kind of fill in these broad areas. I could have actually just used this to do the outlines, actually, if I was thinking. But this is all black. And, as you move quicker, you kind of get that nice little streaky effect. And I'm going to add some spattering once I get him all done. And again, like I was saying, this is kind of where you build up your inking confidence with the big areas, right? Because a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people at cons, and some people DM me or ask me questions and comments about inking, traditional inking, and it is a skill. It's a skill that's kind of dying with the digital age. But we teach it at Ka-Pow because we know that not everyone is going to be using, some people just like traditional media. And I'm a fan of traditional media. I'm a fan of digital media. But what I tell people is digital media is where you build that supreme confidence and sticking with decisions, because with traditional media, it's less forgiving than Control-Z. When you can Control-Z everything, courage is easy. That's that keyboard courage. There's keyboard courage when it comes to art, right? But us old school guys, who still will do this, like I do hybrid. So you guys are gonna be seeing that here as well. Me doing traditional stuff. People say, what do you prefer? It depends on what it's for, but when I really wanna build my confidence, I dive in with traditional tools because every decision matters. I want this kind of like pulling in the mouth. This is his mouth. Growing up, you only thought about inking because it was in the book credits, but I didn't know how. What you didn't know what it was? Yeah, inking is a dying piece of the pipeline in comics because it's a money decision, right? And I actually am outlining. If you watch any of my other videos here, I'm not going to be doing a lot of scripted videos here. They're going to be more, because it's easier for me. I'd rather save my scripting for my actual stories. But I do outlines, so I know that I cover each point. And so I'm doing one on earlier time I tried to do stuff. Traditionally, my paper gets curly because of that's what the glove is for. That's what the glove is for. Okay, that's what the glove is for. The glove is to actually keep your sweat and your oils off the paper. It also works on your screens as well. It keeps your hand from sticking to your LCDs. But one of the things that I want to really stress to people is, you know, again, the confidence that you build with traditional tools is second to none. It's second to none. It forces you into being decisive with your creative decisions. And it also forces a level of creativity as it pertains to, like, I've had big blotches of ink, big blotches of ink, just bloop on the paper, and you got to fix it. You know what I'm saying? You just got to figure out how to fix it. And so, again, when you can't do Control Z, it's just a different level of swag that you build. Because I've also seen at cons artists that I think are exceptional when printed, and I've gone to their tables and watched them work live, and their sketch work or their actual in-person work it's significantly diminished compared to their digital stuff. And I call those studio artists, the guys that are just, they're strongest in the studio. At Ka-Pow, hey, we kind of want you guys to be well-rounded, you know, well-versed, because you're not always going to have, you know, the benefit of a computer. What makes the inking important? All right, so traditionally inking was established because of the primitive nature of printing back then, back in the early days of comics, and it helped make the lines readable because this is a pre-digital era that all that was established in. And so inking was a way for the printing presses to get clear, distinct lines which to place the colors. Now with the advent of computers, like if you go, you know, I know because you don't go to the comic book store like that, but if you were to pick up a comic book, you're going to see a lot of, like when you look at the credits, you're going to see artist as opposed to penciler and inker. What they're doing is because you can do digital, you can eliminate that stage of the process, which saves the publisher money. Okay, and my inking brothers, you know, they will fight tooth and nail, but inking has been on its way out in the pipeline for a long time. Okay, I like it as a traditionalist. I love the traditional process. I really, really do. But also as a self-publisher, I get the temptation of removing it from the pipeline, right? Because inkers, especially one worth his salt, his pay scale per page is pretty close, if not the same, as the penciler. And so I'd rather, on average, say like with Honor Studios, right? I would have to pay, let's say if I paid a penciler $100 a page, right? That inker will probably also get $100 a page. So now it's $200 a page and I haven't gotten the color. And the colorist he's probably going to demand the same as well, right? Or close to it. And so I'd rather have somebody go digital, because if you see artists, chances are that person is just digital, right? If you see artists in the credits. I'd rather have somebody that's a digital artist that will go ahead and add the intense blacks, the typical comic book blacks and stuff in the program. And instead of paying $100 for a penciler and $100 for an inker, I'm paying $150 just for the artist. Now, I'm not saying those are the actual pay scales, but just kind of give you an idea. Does that make sense? So you do remember penciler and inker credits and how we looked for certain ones to know the quality was great. Yeah. And there's some inkers that are so vested, like my buddy Jay, that I actually did interview for Art to Art. The problem is he never circled back around. We never got back in touch with me to do the second part, so I'm not going to post the first part. And that was over a year ago. and he's an industry inker. He used to actually got started practicing on my inks when we lived down in Kentucky. When he was in high school, he used to come and we used to do sketch jams at my house, at my apartment, me and Toy's apartment. And he went on to become, he's now like one of the preeminent inkers in the industry. That even though, and he does digital as well, but he's got name recognition amongst publishers in his level of professionalism and the quality of his work that certain artists ask for him specifically. But he put his reps in. He's one of the privileged few because a lot of inkers are having a hard go of it as they remove it from the pipeline altogether. Lance Geek Drums. Hello. Hey, Lance, how are you, man? How are you? Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for popping in. Lance has a YouTube channel. Check him out. He's another member of the Tinley Park Amazing Fantasy, the home store crew. Says you've always felt you need to understand the original, the analog way of doing things to know why and how the upgrade to the digital should be done for quality and durability. Again, it's a confidence game, right? Art is a confidence game, and a lot of people don't realize how much it is. And so, you know, I can sit down, and most artists with their salt can sit down. Guys, you know, the analog guys, you should say, I love that. The analog, I like it better. I like it better than saying old school. Right? I like it better than saying old school. We'll say analog. Us analog guys that can still do it analog, there's also a level of mystique and aspiration to most aspiring artists when they see us get the same result and knowing there's no tricks, there's no shortcuts. You know what I mean? You know, it's just pencil. People are like, what kind of pencil? I'm like, the kind that writes. What kind of ink? The one that does black? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like I have most of these tools that you see, like all this stuff here, I don't even use half of these, to be quite honest. And I got drawers full of them. What I like to do is I like to play. I like to experiment, right? But when it comes down to it, pencil and ink, man. You know, pencil and ink. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It still works. It's forever. It's forever. And it demystifies it for a lot of people, you know. I think. Like, no, you can do this. You know, you just have to level up. That's all. A lot of people are just afraid of the process, the learning curve. Because we live in this microwave yesterday, I want to be good yesterday era. Or I want to fake like I'm good with generative AI. So we're gonna ink this and have, believe it or not, this is the lion's share of it is going to be the Sentry, because this is going to be the Void, because the Sentry, his costume is yellow, and because it's on the lighter end of the spectrum, because his value is so low, he's basically line work. That's it. There's really no shadows to put in because you don't heavily shadow the lighter hues of the spectrum. You kind of leave them more open because, again, you can do it the traditional comic way. Me, I kind of rigid a little bit. I kind of do a hybrid way of doing that. You can hear that with me a lot. Hybrid. I'm very much a hybrid in many ways. But in like if we use real life as a reference, which should always be, you know, which is always appropriate for the craft. If you look at anything white, it doesn't cast a lot of shadows, right? It doesn't cast a lot of shadows because white does what? It reflects light back, right? Dark colors absorb light. And so to stay in alignment with that as comic artists, when we know, like I know his costume is gold and it's yellow. Even his cape is not a dark blue. It's a light blue. So it's gonna be more open. I'm gonna only put shadows where I absolutely have to, okay? Because I know the color still, the value has to read. That's a value thing, right? You're gonna learn that at Ka-Pow as well. You know how color works. I'm gonna be doing more tutorials here. So hopefully we get more students like Jahay. I don't want to pump your head up, Jahay, but you're like an instructor favorite already. You haven't even started your classes yet. If you're still here. She hasn't even started her classes yet. But she came in like a ball of fire with her energy and her desire to learn. And so just FYI, I had to give her access prematurely. And she's been showing up. She hasn't missed anything. I can't wait till she actually starts her dedicated classes. Cause I'm betting on you, Jahay. Just so you know, I'm betting on you. I'm putting my mouth on you. Just like I did with Lauren and Katie. I'm cashing my chips on Jahay. Okay? Just so you know. Just so you know, I see you as being a potential future star at this. I really do. And just so you know, me and instructors talk, if you haven't found that out. Warren and Mr. Atkins and Mr. Shearer, we talk. You may not see me, but I always know what's going on in my school. I always know who's doing what and who's not doing what. If you guys haven't subscribed, please like, follow, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. Okay? If you like this and more content like it. I'm thinking about doing one live stream a week and one long form video, so please follow. We are ramping things up as the school is growing, and we are asserting ourselves in the landscape now because we kind of are confident in our identity and what we bring. And I'm also going to be doing a video here soon where I reveal the price and post it on our website. But first I have to give a whole presentation on value, because we've been getting so many inquiries and, quite honestly, applicants that are just not a fit for us, that we're like, everybody's not Jahay, everybody's not Katie, you know. We're getting more tire kickers as we run our ads and our promotions, and though they're interested, you know, many of them, see how I did that? See that? That's what just happened. Now I gotta fix it. See that? It wasn't supposed to fall out like that. Now I gotta fix it. You just saw it in real time as I was talking, but I'm gonna fix it. Watch. I'm gonna work it into the piece because I was planning on doing this anyway. Adding wisps of black tendrils. So I'm gonna work that in. I'm gonna create a negative space right there. Let that dry a little bit. Now see, even though this is going to be scanned in digitally, I can clean all that up. I want you guys to see in real time. This is where the confidence comes, right? When you don't panic and you make it work. You all just saw that 2 big old blobs of ink as I tried to refill this. I squeezed a little bit too hard because I was distracted. It doesn't take a whole lot to feed ink into this, but I saw it getting dry. So now I'm taking all that ink and I'm migrating it, making it work for me. When I first started, trust me, I would have panicked. Like, oh my God, what just happened? And as most tendrils of energy and smoke, they kind of widen as they get towards the edges. He said that was crazy. What was crazy? The fact that I messed up just like I said I would. Were you here when I gave them the warning, Jahay, that you're going to see this in real time? just really work it into the piece. Because I was still going to add tendrils of energy, kind of intertwining. Yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you do it. That's what I was meaning. It wasn't intentional, as you know, but this is where the confidence comes from, right? You only get this. If nothing is permanent, there's no risk, right? And art is about risk. It really is about risk and exploration at the end of the day, And when you survive it, that's where your confidence comes. When you survive the hiccups and the issues. Now I'm just trying to make sure that this goes ahead and it's already touched it. But I'm not worried about that either, because even with that, I'm gonna go ahead and work that in. Because the thing about a shadow demon like the void is that everything. Let me get off this glove before I continue. Just pick on the glove. I don't want that on my paper. That's why I have this paper. I'm drawing on paper. This is a metal plate, so I can use my magnets to hold medium to the board. But I'm not tripping on nothing. Since I'm doing it, I'm just going to stay in that lane. See, that's still wet glossy, waiting for me to mess up. I'm not going to touch you either. And the void is kind of just that. He's kind of amorphous, so he doesn't have a real form. He's actually the psyche of the character, and I'm curious to see how they do that in the movie, how they address that in the movie. The void is his evil alter side. He's as evil as the Sentry is good, but they're the same person. It's his psychosis. Imagine someone this powerful, more powerful than Superman, the most powerful super being in your universe, and he's insane. He has two personalities. That's crazy. That was a brilliant creative stroke, in my opinion. See fits, I'm getting my Daniel Warren Johnson on. Everybody knows me, knows I love clean, straight lines, but again, this allows me the chance to kind of cut loose and explore being messy and amorphous. Fitz introduced me to Daniel Warren Johnson. I was trying to get him on an episode of Art to Art because he lives here in the Chicago area, and he does live streams too. But I tried to jump in on one of his live streams, so he didn't have a lot of people, and he never even responded to me. I'm like, dude, can I just get you like on a interview since you're local? If you haven't checked out Daniel Warren Johnson's stuff, he does a lot of brush. His stuff is, it's not the kind of stuff that I would normally subscribe to, but the energy of it is amazing. Right now his book is The book he's working on now is The Moon is Following Us. Spin this so I don't risk smudging more ink. I see it's reflecting on me over here. Paper is uber saturated. And so the plan is that when I go in here with my sponge tool and I start splattering ink on the back, that it makes this smoky, shadowy effect. You know what I'm saying? That's the plan at least. We'll see how it turns out. I just really need you to kind of really dry up for me. You're like still wet and you're making me nervous. Because I know I will keep going and I'll forget that you're still wet. And then we'll have another boo-boo to fix. And I ain't trying to fix too many boo-boos. Kind of draw through the character, show him in this state. But certain lines have to be kind of clear and defined, like his spider mandibles, claws, whatever they are. And the goal is for them to work against the line so that you still have the silhouette that you can make out. So yeah, we're gonna go see it Sunday. Me and my crew, my sons and my grandsons. It's kind of a tradition in my family. The superhero themed movies. Not every movie, but just the geek stuff. It's the geek stuff. Yeah, you're gonna make me dodge you. I'm gonna have to blot you up. Let me get out there. Let me get a paper towel. I'm gonna have to blot you up because the paper's super saturated. And this is another thing. You just have to kind of go straight down and straight up. Can't shift it. Straight down, straight up. Then you have to move it so you don't spread that ink. And that picks up the blots. I was hoping it would dry on its own. Especially as absorbent as this paper is. Definition here. Here's my other white. We're painting, y'all. We're painting. We are painting. Here is my white ink tool. Pen. Where'd it go? I got stuff everywhere, y'all. No, it's up here. This one. This is a white acrylic. I just want to kind of bring this mandible a little bit of definition here. That's it. Here we go. Boom. We can kind of make it out again. And I'm still going to go over it with more wisps, you know, but I wanted to have a nice strong silhouette. So that when I start blotting blacks and stuff in there, you can still kind of make out the insect attributes or whatever. So I don't know, anybody got any plans this weekend? Today's Thursday, right? I've had my head down working on the website and trying to get the new pages up and working on videos for the channel and writing my own properties. Kind of been losing track of the days lately. But that's the sign that you're working, right? That's the sign that you're doing the thing. At least that's what the old folks used to say. I used to have some music playing when I was doing this, but my computer's so old I'm afraid it'll freeze. Interview I just did with Michael Regina, which the first part will probably be going up tomorrow for Art to Art. Check it out. Great interview. He's a published graphic novelist. All around great guy. I think I found a new friend. I told my wife that. I think I found a new member of my posse. All around good guy. He's got a literary agent, and he was so informative. I think you guys will really get a lot out of it as an option for aspiring comic artists. People don't think the traditional route. They usually think Marvel and DC or just Kickstarter now. But there's, old school publishers that are still signing people to contracts. And actually, I'm exploring that myself with some of my own properties, some of them, not all of them. Okay, take it easy. Thank you for hanging out, guys. Have a good night. I know you got a lot of stuff going on. Take care of yourself. I'll see you soon, I'm sure. We'll have breakfast or something. Do our thing. How have you been, Jay, if you're still there? See, I've been logging into the Orange Room. I know you guys are usually busy when I come in. It's random, it's not mandatory, but I'm trying to make sure that you guys have access to me. I've been trying to log into the Orange Room, but I'm having desktop issues. But I found out I'm not having the same issues on my laptop. So I've been logging into the Orange Room to hang out with students if they're free during my work day. Oh, that's fine? No, that's fine. No, you ain't gotta apologize. You ain't gotta apologize. Like I said, it's the Orange Room's always optional. It's just me. Here's the beautiful thing about the Orange Room. If I'm in there and nobody comes in, it automatically logs you out. So it's nothing for me just to turn on my camera, because all I'm doing is working. That's it. I'm not lonely. All I'm doing is working, and it's a chance for you guys if you want to come hang out and see what I'm working on, or ask questions, or just pick my brain. It's just so that you guys have access. But again, like I said when you joined us, the Orange Room is for you guys primarily. It's really not for us. And it's not for the administration. It's not for the team. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So I might do it on the weekend. It's totally random. Like I said, it's not mandatory. I think nothing of it. I just make the announcement. Sometimes it's just me and Mr. Atkins in here talking. Like it was the other day. Fitz came in, me, him, and Atkins were in there talking. You know, if you guys join, if you can, great. If not, it's all good. Again, it's for you guys. Because one thing about us is that we always got stuff to do. Just want him radiating this malevolence. It's more time than I spend. There's a lot of black. More time than I planned on it. But I'm almost done, because I'm not going to overdo it. Just going to draw a little bit here. Thicker at the edges. It starts to dissipate. Thinner, wispier lines here. But we can still make them out in the shadows. This is also a great exercise, things like this for you guys if you just really want to practice with a brush. The brush is so sensitive to how you breathe. It responds to everything on like a pen, right? I mean, we use the micron just so we use those for a reason because of the level of control it affords us. But you guys really want to flex, use the brush. Mr. Shearer, one of our instructors, he does a lot of his inking with the brush. Me, I've just really built the muscle recently in the past couple of years where I felt confident enough to use it, let alone string with it. But it's the ultimate like artistic flex with the brush, in my opinion. Pens and things like that, they're a lot easier. Again, when you hear me make these comments, it's not me being arrogant. Please understand. When I tell you building your confidence with what you do, I've really come to appreciate how valuable it is, and really try to find tools that assist in that. Because some days you're gonna wake up and nothing's gonna work, right? Nothing's gonna work. Things that you've drawn 1,000 times, for some reason you just want now. You've drawn eyes 1,000 times. People have complimented you on how expressive your eyes are, and then one day you wake up and no eyeball looks right. That's where you kind of fall back on what you've done before. You know, it's those moments that you remind yourself of what you're capable of. You know, that's why you're going to hear me say a lot on this channel. You know, competence builds confidence, and if you haven't taken the time to develop competence, it's going to be really hard building real confidence. Because you're going to need it. You're going to need it on those days when no line works out right. Every pose looks like it's just wrong for some reason. It's a thing. It's a thing. The void. All right, we'll take a break from the void and I'm gonna get back to Robert Reynolds, the man with the power of 1 billion exploding suns. Pretty much power one nova. Last time I checked, an exploding sun is a nova, but you know, comics. But you know how much energy that is. billion exploding suns. Alright. We have our mysterious phantom monster in the back. Now let's get back to Ryan Reynolds, because this is gonna be all over here. And so I'm probably not gonna waste time doing all this here, because how far am I in now? We are over an hour and 20, about an hour and 20 minutes. So I got 40 minutes to make something that you guys can respect. Here's the pen I was looking for. Duh. That's the tool I was looking for. Put this around right here. Okay. Alright, so let's we're going back now to a micron. And we're probably gonna go with we're gonna go with a thicker one. I want a thicker line. Do I want a micron? Let's see. I want a thicker line. I like thicker outlines, and I usually like monolines. I like how they kind of clean everything up while still maintaining a sense of line weight. Let's make sure that head is right. Darkness in his face, kind of show him being overtaken by the void. Some shadows, underlip shadow right there. The more darkness you add, the more it looks, resonates of this evil. There we go. Didn't mean to use that on the interior, so trust me when I tell you it took a little, that was a gamble. I don't want those lines to be that thick. This is a relatively thick marker. Also, when you're working with these absorbent papers, you have to watch for your hot spots, because every time you put it down, you kind of have to put it down and move at the same time, where you get these spots where it blotches. Right, kind of blotches because you held on that spot a half a second too long. Not all papers like this. This is that Canson paper, and the sketch was done with a coal erase, a red. Yeah, there's nothing significant about the colors or the pencils. Whatever pencil writes is fine. This is a scarlet red Prismacolor coal erase, but sometimes I'll do it in blue. Sometimes I'll do it in brown, sometimes I'll do it in green. There's really no rhyme or reason for it. It's just, how do I feel that day? Everything's not deep. I'm not one of those guys saying, trying to make everything mystical and quasi fantastic to sound like some online guru. You guys are going to find out really quickly how I feel about art influencers. I'm not trying to be an art influencer, trust me. I'm trying to provide a service and build trust, so you guys know that you guys can come to us. I'm going to be using your interview Jay had a line, and I told her I was going to use it, but she literally said, "This is too good to be true." And I'm like, yes, it is. It's true. But it was a genuine response when she found out what we were offering and the price that we're offering it at. And so stay tuned. The reveal of the actual cost of our school is coming up within the next week, and we post it on our website permanently. That won't be the permanent price maybe, but more than likely, but that's where we are now. And we won't raise prices just out of greed. It'll be out of necessity if we have to, but we're always going to be the most affordable option anywhere. That is my commitment. The moment we cross that affordability threshold, I'm shuttering the whole thing. Yes, it is. Once we cross it, once I feel that it's no longer viable where people can afford it and feel good about it, we're done. Because this is not, money allows us to do what we do, but it's not the point of why we do it. And I'll never make that the point. I believe the price that we have, if we grow it, and we could be here for a while, our tuition, right? I could be here comfortably for a while and feel good about it. And we're going to be rolling out even more options, because some people just don't believe fat, as the old folks used to say, some folks just don't believe fat meets greasy. And so that's an old saying, y'all. You just don't believe fat meets greasy. Some people don't believe fat meets greasy, and so we're gonna be eventually coming out with courses. That's one of the things I'm gonna have to talk to you about today too. We're kind of pivoting a little bit with panels and gutters. I know you've been showing up for it. We're going to be pivoting with it. It's still gonna be panels and gutters. We're just changing the format of it and the purpose of it, but you'll still have access to it as a main course enrolled student. That won't change. If Jahay's in the chat, she can tell you we give a lot, especially when you're in the main course. Our main course students, we really want to set you up for success, so we kind of over deliver, and that's by design. It's not out of stupidity. We kind of over deliver. Under promise, over deliver. Can't promise that you'll walk out of here with your certificate, even though we have them. That is a decision I make based on the student. That I feel I'm not giving a certificate here at Ka-Pow. It means that as an institution, and me personally, with my integrity, I'm confident in putting my name on you. That at the very least, it's not about how good you are, but I know you've done the work. It's a recognition of the work that you put in, and that I'm confident that no matter what happens, where you keep going or not, that I know that you know this stuff, and that you can have those conversations and sit at certain tables and feel confident in the discussions. Now, so one of the things I like to do is I like to make sure that outer line is always heavier. That's an aesthetic. That's not a rule. Okay, I like clean, crisp lines. Okay, but I also appreciate artists that have that grungy, organic look, like I mentioned with Daniel Warren Johnson. You know, when I first saw his book, Murder Falcon, when Fitz will tell you if he's here, I will listen. If I trust you, I will listen. And so when he said, Solo, you have to read this book, right? And first thing because I'm art focused, even though I'm a writer primarily who can draw, I purchase primarily based on art, because that's where I feel like I'm constantly growing and learning. Writing is more formulaic and expressive in my opinion. And so I'm actually more confident in myself as a writer than I am an artist. And so when I'm buying a book, like I'll read a novel, I'll read like 4 to 6 nonfiction books a month. That's my thing. That's not including, we're saying nonfiction, that's business, that's craft. I'm going to be going through my library here on the channel. Just got some books today. Don't tell my wife, please. Just got some books today that I'm going to be sharing, art books and how-tos that I'm going to go through to see if they're worth their salt. But we're going to be doing book walkthroughs like we did with the Marvel Snap here. Just sharing. I like to share, because this is how I learn. This is how I taught myself, is by consuming other artists' processes, you know. And I'm still consuming. I'm still learning. You know, when people meet me at shows and they compliment me, it's hard for me to take it. My response 9 times out of 10 is thank you. I'm still learning, and that's not false humility. I really do mean that. I'm like, thank you. I am really still learning. Thank you for the compliment though. I'm learning every day. I study my period. That's part of my daily practice. Is sometimes it's just books that I've already read, or artists that I admire. I just go through them and just consume them as bodies of work, trying to learn as much as I can. These hands are probably going to be glowing once I do it. Once I scan it in, those are likely going to be glowing hands. FYI, I'm gonna add a lot of effects. The print is probably going to look this. I'm 90% certain this is going to be a print. So if you see me at a show, I'm gonna try to make sure that all of these Thunderbolts are prints, because I'd be stupid. What I like to do is I like to get all the juice for the squeeze, right? And so I have things that I just sketch on to warm up, but ultimately sometimes they end up into things that I know could be potentially profitable. I've kind of leveraged my dysfunction. You know, me and Jahey we have similar neurological functions. And so my hard thing is knowing when to kind of just leave it raw at the sketch phase, and a lot of sketches turn into pieces of work unintentionally. I'm learning how to doodle. I've never been a doodler. Because, like, if you check out Cops to Comics, and I share my stories, and this is an ongoing series where I'll be sharing my experiences, my journey here on the YouTube channel from Cop to Comics. It has become part of my hardwiring, because over the years of working a full-time job and being in law enforcement and doing all those things, every time I drew, it had to mean something. It literally had to have some type of weight to it. And so doodling was not a big thing for me. It was not a thing that I did, okay? I was still taking freelance work, even though I was in a squad car. I worked on video games. You know, I worked on pitches for other people as a freelancer. I did all those things while working full-time law enforcement. And so, but when I took a project, every time I picked up a pencil, because time was at a premium, it had to mean something. Because quite honestly, I didn't know when I'd pick up a pencil again. That's why I say, you know, this is the real school for real people with real lives, because it's built around my story, and we understand what it's like to be consumed with the day-to-day of life. We know that. We're not ignorant to that here at Ka-Pow. And so on that note, what has happened was now I don't know when to stop, when to leave something at a raw stage, just for the sake of getting strokes in. And so a lot of my pieces end up being pieces when they were intended just to be sketches, right? So it's kind of like a misnomer. It's very much a misnomer, not kind of. It's very much a misnomer when I say solo sketch and chill. But what's helped me with that, because there's value in that. Everything should not have to be a big deal, right? What's helped me with that, believe it or not, is gesture drawing. Cut on a timer. I have an app that I use, and I want to use it here. And we also have our own app for Ka-Pow. I don't know if you knew that, Jahey. We have our own app. It's in the App Store and on the Play Store. It's a prompt app that I'll be doing here as well. Just using prompts to help spur imagination. It's something that I created again, revisiting my experiences of being in between calls and wanting to draw something, but I only got a 15 minutes lunch break. But if there's a shooting or someone's in danger or domestic disturbance, sometimes they get interrupted. And so I didn't want to, I'm like, man, I got a 20-minute break or 10-minute bathroom break. I want to doodle something, but I didn't want to waste time trying to figure out what that was. And so I created parameters. It's in the App Store. Oh, it's called the Power Prompt. It's called the Ka-Pow Power Prompt. I can pull it up for you. I'm going to be doing streams here, and I'm also going to be posting random prompts that you guys can use at your leisure. If you don't want to buy that, I'll be posting prompts here. There's a few inside of the. So this is it right here. Can you see that? Ka-Pow Power Prompt, right? Here are the instructions, and I designed this myself, Jihei. Actually designed and animated this myself, and I just had a family member who's into IT. He coded it for me. Oh, you found it? Yep. This is our own branded prompt, Jihei. Are you excited about joining us, Jihei? I don't promote it, and I'm going to start promoting it as we get more active here on YouTube, but I actually created the app before I opened the school. I just don't promote it, and I know you think that's crazy. The pricing's not cemented, so I'm like, get it now. It's always going to be very cheap, like, and affordable, like everything is here. But right now, just to get it back up, because it got taken down for a little bit, just to get it back up, we have a fixed price. Once my IT guy comes back around, we're going to make it to like $12 for the year. $12 for the year, right? Or maybe $12, $15, $20 for something like that. Something really, because it's a tool. It's not something you're going to use every day, but it's just something that if you have it, you can use it, right? So why wouldn't you use it? I actually flew to California and had a beta test group put together for me. Of professionals and amateurs. I put a lot of intention into this app, Jihei. Yeah, and so we're probably gonna be doing challenges. Oh, another thing we're doing, Jihei, I'll probably be up on our private platform next week. Is we're gonna be doing Ka-Pow Fam Jams once a month, where we just get together and just draw, just us, the team, and the students. And it's gonna be like one Sunday a month. That's it. It's gonna be like one Sunday a month. Me and Mr. Atkins already talked about it. It's something I came up with after we lost Steph, to kind of get everybody across the country more connected in our community, because I love our community. And so called Ka-Pow Fam Jams. So I will be scheduling those. I might schedule them tonight before I go to bed. It's just about making an event. Yep, Ka-Pow Fam Jams. Where we can just get together, hang out. You can draw, not draw. We can talk geek, right? We can share our screens. We can laugh and just, connect as a community. This is like a needle, and it's almost dead. This is like, it might be bent. Yeah, and you are already contributing, which has got us excited. You've brought a lot of energy to our community that I think it very much needed. And you've kind of lit a fire under the other students, which I really commend you on. So we're glad to have you. We're glad to have you. Now, everybody that applies may not get the same. If you don't show me the same things, you won't get the same privileges as Jihei. Jihei showed me a lot, and I was floored. We were all impressed, right? And so We don't expect that from everyone, nor is it required, but hopefully Jahei is an example that we see you. We're not an entity, we're small, we're not big, but we're going to stay relatively small. Okay? I want to grow because it has to be sustainable financially, but my intention is to keep it sustainably small and intimate, and maybe one day, maybe the word could be elite, right? And exclusive. No, go eat. Go eat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for hanging out. Have a good night. That's actually the line weight that I prefer. I don't have to work it as much. That's pretty cool. Yes, that's the uniform line that I want. It makes it nice and bold. And it's giving me a nice little contrast. Yeah, we'll use that pen. See, I got pens, I don't even know what they do. This is some kind of fude pen. And I can't read Japanese. I think is it a zebra? It says Seston. I don't even know where I got this thing from. I'd be ordering stuff just to see what it does. Let me tell you something. If you guys choose the art life, you're gonna have so many tools that you get just because that you will never use. It really is trial and error. But the things that you're gonna waste money. That's part of it. You're gonna waste money, but you're gonna come back around, and you're gonna find the things that actually work for you. And that's like you may go around the river and through the woods, but eventually you're gonna get right back and be like, you know what, this really works. I think I'll just stick with this. It's about experimentation and exploration. So I like bold outlines like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and really commit to these at this point. To kind of get the outline in, and then go back with the finer detail lines. I just like how it pulls it off the paper, right? Now this isn't like your traditional line weight. This is a recent advent to comics. Before, line weights were very varied all the time, and that it depends on the style that you're trying to accomplish, right? Me, because I like more I call them sterile artists, and that because it really speaks to my animation background, right? I like artists that are I tend to gravitate towards artists traditionally. Like I said, I love all art. I can appreciate it all. But I personally tend to gravitate to artists that have a very clean, crisp, open aesthetic. That's what I find visually pleasing, personally. But again, I'm also a fan of Daniel Warren Johnson, who's not that. He's not clean, he's not pretty. His stuff is just, it's energy, and it's raw, and it's amazing. It's art. That's the beauty. I don't like all art, trust me, but typically it's a foundational thing that turns me off. And that's the thing about like artists like Daniel Warren Johnson, is that foundationally he's so solid and his style works for what he does. It's masterful in its own way. But then there's some artists that are very clean that you would think I like, that I can't stand their work because there's some very fundamental flaws in their execution. But what I typically do not gravitate towards one way or the other at all, ever, are what I call hyper renderers. They use a lot of cross hatching and hatching. Not a thing for me. Usually that's with a lot of excessive detail. Usually that's a warning sign to me that they're trying to hide something. And if you have a trained eye, like me and my instructors do, you can really pinpoint it. It's great with fans. I get why fans like it. But for me, it's more foundational. If that makes sense. And I don't even know if I'm talking to anybody, so I'm just going to shut up and draw. I'm just filling up space at this point with noise, and that's not who I am either. Should have my timer on. It's hard to see over to my desktop. Should have my timer on so I can see how much time I'm working with. But I think I'm almost done anyway, so we're almost there. We're almost there. As soon as I get this computer situation figured out, though, we're gonna have music. That's part of the chill part. I'm just afraid that my computer can't handle it right now. Processors are at their limit. But I got the old processors now. Shoot, they got 10 cores. I'm like, oh my gosh, I think I got 4. I don't know if I want those highlights or not. I kind of like the solid black. The beautiful thing is I can experiment with them, and I don't like it, I can just go ahead and pull it in. We're almost done. Maybe able to get a good chunk of this done where I feel good about it to end this. And I might do another stream if you guys want. Leave a message in the comments. If you are interested, I'll go ahead and I can do another stream where I'm actually coloring it digitally. That's a whole nother thing. I'm taking my cue from David Finch. Like when they're painting, the line work is always completely done. If they're sketching, the underlying sketch is usually done. Not all the time, but usually done. I hope he comes back with his Monday night draw. But hopefully we can fill that void. If I can get on a consistent schedule, I love to fill the void that he left with Monday night draw. I loved his David Finch's demeanor and his delivery. Such a nice guy. I'm not a nice guy. I'm a kind guy, but I'm not a nice guy. But there's a whole philosophy behind that. I'd rather be kind than be nice. But he's such a nice guy that I loved his channel. David Finch. I just got his Marvel art book that I'm be doing a lot. It came late, but the guys at Essential Sequential were, the owner was so gracious, and hopefully we can work out some way to collaborate. He was such a gracious guy. He filled the order, even though it was months behind, and didn't make a big deal out of it. Just very professional. So shout out to Essential Sequential and their incredible stable of artists. They represent professional artists. They don't represent me. I'm not a big enough name, understandably. But dealing with him on just getting this book, he's probably got now a customer for life, even if that's all the extent of how we deal with each other. I got 2 other art books now that I want to review, not review, but walk through. I don't do reviews here, I do reviews on my other channel. This is more for educational as opposed to the other ones for opinion. So no reviews here, but I'll definitely do book walkthroughs. Definitely be doing book walkthroughs. Okay, if anybody's there, let me know you're there, because I feel like I'm talking, screaming at the wind. Heard just heard my wife come in, so I'll be wrapping this up. I actually did this with her in mind. Get a little bit of ink strokes for the gram. I'm not abandoning Instagram, I'm just not giving a whole lot of attention to it. But it's really been, it's really the reason why we've been growing, but also why we've had so many people that just don't quite fit. Because I've been running ads there. And so all the experts are saying, with a business like mine, focus on YouTube. So that's YouTube, get ready. Get ready. I still post there, but I post stuff like this, little process stuff, and you know, because the reach isn't there. Nor is it on Facebook without spending money. And us being small, money is something that we don't have in immediate abundance. I'm being completely honest. You're my wife, my beautiful wife, 30 years. She's on the phone. Got some videos dropping here, you guys. I hope you like them. As we increase our presence here on YouTube. And check us out. And really quick, let me go ahead and let's pay some bills, as they say. Let's pay a few bills here at Ka-Pow, the Comic Art Academy. All right. Here we go. Bills paid. bills paid. Hello. Thank you. Bookamac. Thank you. Thank you. Glad you joined us. How are you tonight? Are you a follower? Have you subscribed and followed? Just curious. Just really, really curious. If not, we'd love to have you here as we start to build this channel. It's gonna be fun. It's going to be fun. Make sure the flow is right. Got these lines here. You're a follower. Thank you. I don't see you streaming in the evenings. Oh yeah, I'm starting now. Yep. Yeah, I'm starting to stream. I'm trying to do a weekly stream now. I'm really leaning into YouTube. So if you've been following us, thank you for your patience. The school is starting to grow, and now I kind of feel like I can give it more energy and time, right? Because I really believe that YouTube is kind of like the future for us moving forward. And so thank you so much for following. And yep, you're gonna start seeing me more here in the evenings. I'm doing this Thunderbolts series to kind of kick things off because of the movie. There's no music. Part of Sketch and Chill will be music moving forward, but right now my computer is kind of really temperamental. Because it's begging to be replaced after 10 years, but I got 10 years out of it, which really beats the norm. But now it's starting to really act up because it's old and it's like replacing me. So no music, sorry. But the Sketch and Chill, that's kind of the thing. We'll have some lo-fi, copyright-free music so I don't get any strikes. I don't get any strikes. I already got the music account. Since you're just joining us, as I said earlier, if you're still here, I'm going to finish this digitally and make a print because I have all these conventions coming up. I was just hoping that I could do enough to have it translate as a print. We'll see if we can get all the Thunderbolts as prints. I think they'll do well at shows. Funny thing is, like I said, I don't go to shows to sell prints. That's really not the game that I play. It's just that, if people want them, I just have them available. I don't really push prints. I'm not a big, I'm doing a video on it called, are you really a comic book artist? What does that really mean? And so I have my own classifications that most people agree with, but I'm not what I consider a con artist. So I'm usually not trying to sell my wares, that I'm trying to promote the school. If the spinning makes you dizzy, I apologize, but I am a page spinner. I am a page spinner. Let me is, like I said earlier at the top of the show, draw in the strength of your stroke. I don't think I like that second shadow. We're gonna go ahead and fill that in. It was worth a try. I don't like it. I'm almost at the point of just making it solid black. It doesn't really need a highlight, not really. Not really. Not really. You'll see. It may still end up being solid. Like I really like the solid black that whoever the artist is that I use for the thumbnail. Are there any books out right now that you think are noteworthy for their art? Noteworthy for their art. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to be doing some. I'm going to answer your question. There are a few books that I'm excited about. I just got The Art of Arcane on Amazon. I haven't opened it up. I'm going to be doing it here on the channel, and I'm just going to be doing a flip through like I did with The Art of Marble Snap. The Art of Marble Snap. If you haven't seen that, that's here on the channel. I did that one a few weeks ago. That's a really good book. If you, it's just the art used in the Marble Snap virtual card game. That's a good one. I got The Art of Arcane. I just got from Essential Sequential. The owner was so gracious. I told him I had not received my Art of David Finch book yet, and the Kickstarter ended like last year. And so he sent me out The Art of David Finch. I haven't opened that yet. I also have The Art of J.G. Jones that was also in the Kickstarter from Essential Sequential. I'll be walking through that. I'm going to be doing these walkthroughs here, but I have a ton of art books here. And I said that's going to be something I'm going to be sharing here, books that are in my personal library that is pretty extensive. I'm just going to, if you guys are interested, and it sounds like you are, then I'm just going to be sharing and opening it up and walking through, telling you what my thoughts, why I like it, even the books that I don't like. I just got a book that I really don't like that I ordered from Japan, and I thought it was going to be better than it was because the Netflix show was banging, and that's The Art of Devil May Cry. Ugh. But I might even do a walkthrough. I will do walkthroughs just so you can make your own decision, right? It's like, again, I'm not a fan of people that are intentionally trying to influence people, especially as art. I leave it for grown folks to make their decisions, you know. And so there's books here that I do like, that I do not like. I have a lot of production books. I'm very big on production books from animated shows and movies. And so I have the complete art of Avatar. I can walk through those. I have the art of Overwatch. That's a good one. I have the art of the God of War. You sound like, will you be interested in stuff like that if I walk through them? I know I just threw a lot at you for such a simple question. I'm sorry. I'll just give you their perspective. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I'll again, you make sure you got notifications on. I got a bunch. I have a bunch around me. I got the art of Scotty Young. I've got sketchbooks from artists. I got the art of Jokers. Some of them are art print, but I think a walkthrough is good. So at least if you can find it on eBay or something, I'm very much an avid collector, and even like traditional books that we share with our students here at Ka-Pow. That we kind of recommend. I'll go through the books, even through the ones that we encourage our students to buy that support our curriculum, okay, that anybody can get, that, you know, me and my team kind of put together very condensed list, because again, we're trying to be affordable for everybody, because we want to make sure that people can, you have to invest to grow, and we know that, but everything about Ka-Pow so that you don't break the bank. He has his short segments and his Monday night draws where he takes a trade paperback off the shelf and flips through it, giving his thoughts. This sounds like a better version. Oh, cool. If you like something like that during the live streams, I don't mind doing that. I really don't mind doing that. I'm here for it. I'm so here for it. I'm here for it. Again, we're really kicking this thing off for the first time, with some real intention, and I want to hear your suggestions. And so if that's something that you would like when I go live, trust me, I've got graphic novels that I study from my favorite artists. I've got sketchbooks from artists that I buy. I'm a huge sketchbook nerd. Like, I love to see other artists' processes. So production books and sketchbooks, I have so many of those from artists. Like, somebody comes out with a sketchbook. Now, they're different from the art of books, like the Marvel art of David Finch. Like I said, that just came. Those are the art books. But, today, don't tell my wife, but I circled back around and got the art the art of Alex Ross. What was it? Not Marvels, but I got it. It's been in print for a while, but Alex Ross is a native. He went to school here in Chicago at the American Academy, which is now closed, and I also just bought his Fantastic Four book. I'm telling you, we can do some walkthroughs, bro. That's easy content for me. I'm looking for things that you guys want that don't drain me as far as content creation, like with a bunch of editing, because I do that, but I also have another channel. Just FYI, I have another channel that is my personal work that I share there, as opposed to the fan stuff like we do here. And so, if it's stuff that I don't have to do a whole lot of like editing on, and I'm here for it, and you think it's value there, and I give you my input on it, I'm here for it. That's easy. That's ideal. That makes me happy, and if it makes you happy, it makes me happy. Oh, thank you. Say less. You asked for it, I will deliver. I will deliver. And I really appreciate you just coming in, if nothing else, just to kind of hang out for a little bit. That it's encouraging at this stage of, everybody on YouTube says this is part of the process. Screaming at the wind, still hard. It's still hard, to be quite honest. This pen is just starting to dry out a little bit, but it's great because it's giving me the lines that I want. Again, I'm not going to over render him on the inside because the suit is yellow. So in the value scale, you wouldn't have a whole bunch. There's no need for a whole bunch of muzzles and extra detail, right? This is one of those less is more situations. Hopefully that's making sense to you. I'm going to add the spatter and stuff later. Probably going to start throwing some things on our Patreon. If you're interested, like the sketch process, I record everything. I'm just not posting everything. And so I'll probably be, I'm going to make a new tier, so I'm not really promoting the Patreon right now, but something like $5 a month, where I put the other stages of the process of sketches and stuff. We're going to be launching some things specifically with our class called Class Pass, which are excerpts from our recorded classes here on YouTube. The Sentry. Down here. Again, different levels of line weight. If you notice, his outline is very thick. His body line is not as thick because I don't want it to compete with it. Not again, this is a style choice, so it's not really something that I think that needs to be taught. This is the me part from other aesthetics that I find visually pleasing. Okay. Again, like I said earlier, I tend to not strictly adhere to current design choices because I like to make sure that I put enough of me in it to make it fun. It's got to be fun for me to do this because I'd much rather, in full transparency, like most aspiring artists, even though I'm a pro, I still consider myself an aspiring artist. I really like working on my own stuff. And so my thing is, if I'm going to do characters that I do not own as a fan, I gotta let the kid in me play. If you guys saw that video, let the kid out. I gotta let the kid in me play. And that kid used to love either redesigning characters or doing something unique in characters that he wished, were done by those who actually created the characters that he loved so much. And so I'm still that kid. So you see the old Sentry clasps here, and you have the black, and these are, I'll tell you what I also like to do is I kind of like to tech it up a little bit in this plate. That's experiment. When I'm uncertain, what I'll do is I'll come in just with a pencil and to see how it's too busy, right? I like to add a few seams. You know what I'm saying? That's a me thing. You kind of have a seam going down the leg. Kind of goes up the body. And see, since I'm doing it in pencil, it's non-committal, right? It's non-committal, right? I can put a patch here under his arm, put a seam here, right? Kind of like a patch here. And it doesn't have to really make a lot of sense, but I think it kind of breaks up the monotony of the old classic cape and tights. Adds a little bit of realism while keeping that superhero element to it. Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not? Yeah, we're gonna do that. We're gonna go ahead and add a seam here, some piping. dropping. And I'm making sure that it's still in contour with the musculature. Nothing too fancy, not too loud, not messing up what I've already done, right? Something nice and subtle to kind of add a little spark of detail and uniqueness to the character design. And that same meat here, go behind the leg, right there, down the calf. So this one will probably do the same. Go boom. It's gotta go here, right, up a little bit. Wow. Right? Not too bad. I can live with that. I can live with that. And again, since I'm gonna go with digital with this, I can always edit and post if it just doesn't work for me. Have a little bit of under pec shadow here. Just a little bit. Just a little bit here. Kind of show the anatomy working. Stuff happening that might be a little bit in shadow. There we go. Here. Okay. I'm not big into cross hatching, but I will do hatching. I may play with cross hatching a little bit, but I haven't found a balance personally that I think works for me and my preferred aesthetic. I kind of skipped the 90s, y'all. Just so you know, I was there, but I didn't adopt a lot of the 90s art sensibilities. Not that there's anything wrong with it, it was just excessive to me. You know, never been a huge Jim Lee fan artistically, but I'm a fan of him as an artist, if that makes sense, right? As someone who did a lot, right? And is worthy of esteem and respect, but artistically I never really jumped on that bandwagon. I didn't appreciate what he did. Him and the Image guys. Never been a Tom McFarlane artistic fan in any real way. I know blasphemy, right? Blasphemy. Robert Reynolds, the Sentry. Okay. Well, I'm gonna finish the hands and I'm gonna finish the rest offline because I think we are like running way over. Let me see how much time I got left. Yeah, man. We are past the 2-minute mark. We are past the 2-minute mark, and I got miles to go before I sleep. But that's all right. We'll refine it as we move forward. We'll refine the schedule, and this is me experimenting to see what the time constraints that I put on myself, what they will afford me to do. These outlines pop here, and I'm probably going to end up adding the energy effects digitally. There's so many different ways to skin a cat, y'all. Again, I'm a fan. If people ask me if I prefer, I think I started in this but I didn't finish the thought. If I prefer digital over traditional, I actually prefer hybrid methods. I really do. If you were to ask me, I would say nope, hybrid every day, because what it allows me to do is create something like this that I can actually also possibly sell as an original piece, but something that I can scan in, digitally enhance a little bit, and now we got a really viable print. That's how I'm working on my pages for my book. Is some pages are digital, some pages are traditional. The traditional pages are what I call the money pages, right? That's the stuff that I think has enough visual appeal that somebody may want to invest in. You don't want to. A lot of artists today are creating themselves into a corner, and then wondering why, you can sell a print over and over again for a few dollars, but one piece of original art to the right collector or the right fan, you're eating pretty good. You know what I mean? You're eating pretty good. You're eating pretty good. Alive a little bit. See how I keep the interior lines a little bit stagnant. I'll go ahead and add a little shadow here. Kind of play it out a little bit just to add a little contrast there. Maybe even a hard red line. Show a little contrast between the exterior and the interior of the cape. And kind of fan them outwards. That's a little bit goes a long way. I'm probably gonna do a video on this. One of the secrets is, one of the signs of skill is not actually what you do, it's what you don't do. Right? What can you omit, what can you minimize and get the same desired effect? A lot of young artists think, as I did, like one of the reasons why I cannot stand my original, my first book, I can't stand it personally. It still sells when people, that's a story there. I'll save that for later, but I can't stand my first book because every line I felt like I was at that stage in my development where I had to, a line had to be for everything. everything needed a line, right? And as you get more mature in the craft, you realize that is not the truth. That is so not the truth. Everything does not need a line. Less can be so much more. But that's a hard lesson to learn, especially just coming out the gate. You kind of have to mature into that. But it's funny, whenever I did animated work, because my brain would kind of shift gears, because I knew that wasn't required. I knew it wasn't required, so I didn't do it. But when I would go to college, it's like my brain was hardwired at the time that lines. I'm like, dude, get over yourself. Stop it. Stop it. That's not a thing. That is not a thing. Okay. I'm confident calling this sufficiently done for now. I'm going to add a lot more black framing. I'm going to add some texture here. I'll probably drop a few process reels of other phases. I got texture, like I might do some cross hatching up in here because of the grungy nature of it, right? Kind of hide him in the background more. See, and things like this, cross hatching actually works where I'm happy with it, right? Because it pushes him further backwards. You know who does really good clean hatch? Steven Segovia. Oh my gosh. If you haven't checked out his work on Instagram, his stuff is amazing. And I'm really like trying to get my hatching up to his level because it's like razor thin. And that's not bad. I'm learning. But I've been experimenting just doing hatching techniques. And that's crazy. For somebody who really doesn't like hatching, I love the way he does. Again, it's not a zero sum. That's the beauty about art. It's not a zero sum, right? You know, you can be a little fickle with it, right? Because it's applied differently by different people. And so I'm not going to go into those weeds. We're well over. But hopefully you guys got enough out of this. And I'll be coming back. I think the next one's going to be, who did I show? Let's see. The next Sketch and Chill will be Winter Soldier. And that particular image, I believe that is by Carlos Gomez, I believe. One of my favorite artists. And you see, I like the clean razor. I think he's doing Venom right now. I think he's doing all new Venom. And so, yeah, Carlos Gomez. But outside of that, I think that we can call this, pretty much done for today. I think we can call this done for the day. I'm cool with where we are at this stage. I think the point's communicated. The stuff that I'm going to do here doesn't really, you got the broad strokes out here, right? And so I'm okay moving forward at this point. And so please be sure to check us out everywhere at Ka-Pow School. Like, follow, subscribe, do all the things. And for a limited time, we are offering, no, we're not offering that. I'm changing that. I'm sorry. Check us out. We are taking applications for our 25-26 year one adult class, and soon we will be launching the Ka-Pow Prep Academy. The Prep Academy for ages 10 through 13 and 14 through 17 respectively. We really want to start getting encouraging young aspiring artists as early as possible to bring their stories to life. And we think that Ka-Pow will be a good partner. So mom and dad, if you have a young one, you can just sign up. And we also have they have their own social platform that I created specifically for the young people that will be moderated by my team and parents. We just need parental consent and parent moderation, and your young one could post safely their art and their comments in their own private social platforms. I know a lot of parents and grandparents like myself are not fully confident and comfortable with the state of the social landscape. And so just like we have with our adults, we have provided a safe place exclusively for our Ka-Pow students, staff, and in this case, moderating parents to hang out. And we're also opening up for homeschool. So if you know somebody who's homeschooling or a homeschool cohort, have them reach out to us on our website, and we're happy to meet with them and design a program that will fit their homeschooling needs. And so on that note, I'm out of your hair, out of your life. I am Doc Solo. I am the head art director at Ka-Pow, the Comic Art Academy. Thank you guys for hanging out. Hope you guys enjoyed this process of sketching, the inking, the Sentry at Solo Sketch and Chill, and we're gonna make this a regular. It'll probably be, this is as good a night as any. It'll either be Monday nights or Thursday nights, but I will post the schedule and commit to it. But a lot of videos dropping. I've recorded them, I've outlined them. Get ready, YouTube. Ka-Pow's coming, and we're here to stay. And we're going to give you guys all the information on who we are, what we stand for, what our ethos is, as well as what our prices are. We are revealing our prices here on YouTube for so many people that have inquired, because we have been inundated with applicants, and now we think we're at that space now because we're very confident in what we provide, our ability to over deliver and help you reach your storytelling and creative goals. And so we're about to pull the covers back on everything. And so all you have to do is still apply for our adult class. You still got to apply, go through the process to make sure that you are fit for our community and that we are a fit for your needs. And so on that note, this is Doc Solo from Ka-Pow, the Comic Art Academy, the real art school for real people with real lives, taught by real industry pros. Thank you guys so much. God bless. Solo out.